SNESdrunk. Hello, thanks for taking the time to watch part 4 of Super Nintendo Random Facts, a series of videos where I just cram together a bunch of stuff I've come across over the years that doesn't fit in any other video. And this ranges all over the place, from glitches to cheat codes to hidden game modes and so on, and it could come from any Super Nintendo game, whether it's bulldozing over water in SimCity, or getting every Krem coin at the beginning of Donkey Kong Country 2, or something as exciting as unlocking a flag minigame in Aerobiz Supersonic. Now, one comment I always get in these videos is something like, how on earth do people discover these things if they weren't published in a magazine like Nintendo Power? Well, most of these codes are too involved to the point that it's unlikely you'd be able to trigger them accidentally. What ends up happening with these games is that the raw code will get pulled, maybe by a fledgling programmer or someone making a ROM hack or an improvement patch, and if you're a person that knows how to read that code, then you'd be able to find and recognize some oddities here and there. Most of these codes were originally made to help out developers and testers. However, some of these random facts I throw at you are ultimately just useless trivia. Like in the original Final Fight, if the player initials entered for the top 3 high scores are Cap, Com, and Guy, in that order, you'll begin a new game with 5 credits instead of 3. Never mind that you can just hold the L button when you press start at the title screen and start each continue with 9 lives, but if 5 tickles your fancy for whatever reason, then that option is available to you as well, as cumbersome as it may be. Also, in the vein of useless trivia, here's a fun fact about Konami. Did you know that the laser that fires across the screen and unveils the Konami bacon strip logo, that the color of that laser depends on which platform you're playing? It's purple on Super Nintendo, green for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and blue for the PC Engine or TurboGrafx-16. Huh, neat. If you're a Luigi purist, and who among us isn't, then you'll like this next one. In Super Mario World, Luigi is just a simple sprite swap with Mario wearing green instead of red. But in the Super Mario All-Stars cartridge that includes Super Mario World, Mario isn't pulling double shifts dressed as Luigi anymore. Instead, they have the real Luigi, or at least a sprite that looks a lot more like him. There's no difference in the way he controls, sadly, and he doesn't even kick his feet in the air while jumping like in Mario 2, but still, it's just nice to see Luigi looking more like himself. In Super Mario Kart, another prominent Luigi game, there's a way to play through an entire circuit as a shrunken down character. Normally, you'd see this status effect after someone uses a lightning bolt, but if you're looking for an extra challenge, then this might be a fun trick for you. At the character select screen, hold the Y button while pressing A to select your character, and abracadabra, now you're tiny. There's really no advantage to being small like this. In fact, it just makes you an easy target to get run over many, many times. But yeah, if you want to beat Mario Kart with an extra handicap, then here you go. Here's a weird one from a more obscure game, Ardy Lightfoot. It's a decent platformer and a bit underappreciated. It's a bit similar to Donkey Kong Country in that you have a helper buddy that comes and goes as you take damage. But what if I told you that you could play this entire game in black and white? Would that improve your experience playing through Ardy Lightfoot? No? Well, it's in the game anyway for some reason. Just hold the L and B buttons after you die, or after you finish a level, and the game will switch to black and white. Well, mostly black and white, as you can still see color from the background here. If you don't keep holding L and B between levels or after you die, then the game will go right back to color. Another obscure, underappreciated game is Firestriker, a game that has you smacking around this fire orb thing to do damage to enemies, while your helper buddy at the bottom of the screen can be controlled by pressing the L and R buttons. It's pretty much like if you shoehorned pinball into a top-down adventure game, and it's pretty good. And hey, if you struggle with this one, you can skip any screen by pressing L, R, start, and select at the same time, and you'll move on to the next room. You can even skip boss fights this way. Yeah, it's obviously cheating, but it does at least let you see the entire game if you'd like. Gradius III is a secret I never knew about, and it happens in the middle of level 2, otherwise known as the bubble level that slows the game down to a grinding halt. Seriously, the slowdown here is insane, the worst in any Super Nintendo game. But if you're able to keep at it and fly your ship down into this hole here where enemies are flying out, you'll be transported to a bonus level where you just shoot your way through all these pellets and collect power-ups. This is really useful since the warp point is right where the checkpoint is for when you die. And normally when you die in Gradius III, it is a rough time to try and navigate things with 0 power-ups. But at least if you have to restart in level 2, you've got this bonus spot here so you can gain back all your power-ups, so that's nice. Staying with shoot-em-ups, here's Supernova, otherwise known as Darius Force, and while you can find better ports of this game elsewhere, the Super Nintendo edition has a boss run that you can unlock. On the second controller, press down, X, up, B, L, R, left, and A right as the Taito logo appears, and you'll know it worked if you hear a sound. Yeah, this game is pretty tough, so if nothing else, this is a nice way to get some practice in for a proper run. Phalanx is another shoot-em-up with some hidden stuff, particularly in level 8, the last level. When you get to this part, after the collapsing platforms, you'll see a yellow button on the floor. Just fly into that, and you'll have to fight, whoever this is. Oh wait, now it's a cat, who's flailing a cat toy at you? It's not a tough boss, thankfully, and it leaves behind a bunch of weapon upgrades, which will really come in handy for the final stretch of this game, which, as you can see, is just slightly on the difficult side. Ugh. Finally for shoot-em-ups, here's BlaZeon, an otherwise slow and boring game that's got a fun mechanic you can play around with, and it's one of the more ridiculous cheats to do. You boot up the game, and then hit the reset button 11 times. After you've done that, hold R while pressing start at the title screen. Now, when you pause the game, you can hit select to flip through all the different ships you can play as. It's a fun way to make your way through what's normally a dull playthrough. Here's a couple hidden game options in MLBPA Baseball. Go to the password screen and enter RBBR, as in rubber, and the playing field will turn into rubber. So if the ball hits the ground, it'll go like 100 feet into the air. What makes this especially weird is that bounces off the wall are treated like normal, so you get some weird caroms that send the ball out into foul territory where it apparently just disappears forever. And everyone can keep running the bases and everyone scores. There's another code you can enter, BRRR, and the field will turn to ice, so every ground ball is an absolute piss missile that'll have the entire team chasing after the ball like a bunch of idiots. Even Cal Ripken Jr. Baseball has a cheat to unlock a team whose stats are completely maxed out. Just pick any exhibition game, then when you select your team, just hold L and R when you press start, and suddenly, oops, all Cal Ripkens. Even the pitchers are all Cal Ripken. And as you might expect, it is very difficult to try and beat a team made up of 2 MVPs, 3 Gold Gloves, 8 Silver Sluggers, 19 consecutive All-Star appearances, and 2,632 consecutive games played. Sticking with baseball, Extra Innings has a turbo mode for some reason. Just hold L and R when selecting a team to activate it. Does it make the game pretty much unplayable? Yes, it does. But it's a funny visual if nothing else. Last, for sports games, there's one of my favorites, Madden NFL 95. On the Team Select screen, press LRLRA to unlock the expansion Jacksonville Jaguars, and press LRLRY to unlock the Carolina Panthers. Both teams have their stats maxed out, so hopefully you'll get far enough ahead that your opponent won't be calling cities and animals to try and steal your timeouts. On to fighting games, and a lot of one-on-one fighting games on the Super Nintendo have a turbo mode that you can unlock, like Primal Rage for instance. This game has a cheat menu that you can unlock where you can turn on one-hit wins, invulnerability, or a turbo mode. All you gotta do at the main menu is just press left, 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 right, right, left, left, right, 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 left, right. Did you get all that? The game is still playable, but it's a lot harder to pull off special moves, but still this is a fun way to play this one. C2 Clay Fighter 2 Judgement Clay also has a hidden turbo mode. At the game start screen, hold down the Y button and press LLR down, left, and R, and you'll see an adjustable speed meter. Crank it all the way up to 10, and the gameplay will look something like this. Unlike Primal Rage, the game isn't all that player-friendly in this mode, but since it's a sliding scale, you can keep adjusting it until you find a good speed where you can still get off some special moves. Mortal Kombat 2 is a very simple trick you can do right as the game boots up. When you see the licensed by Nintendo screen, hold L and R, and Shao Kahn and Kintaro will wander out to talk trash and kick the crap out of the Acclaim logo.
All too easy.
Yeah, take that, Acclaim. That's for all the crappy Simpsons games you kept putting out there. And of course, Street Fighter II Turbo has a fair share of secrets and stuff that you can unlock, and again, right when the licensed by Nintendo screen fades away, press down, R, up, L, Y, and B. With that code, you'll disable all special moves. Yeah, this is the rare code that actually gives you some strict limitations, and man, I never realized how much I relied on Hadokens and Dragon Punches, because just going at it against a big, strong dude like Zangief is an uphill battle. It is a fun challenge, though, and it helps keep your Street Fighter fundamentals in check. Finally, we have EVO Search for Eden, and it's one of the more fascinating games in the Super Nintendo library. It's an adventure game where you start out as a fish, and you eat stuff, eat more stuff, and eat some enemies, and you'll be able to level up certain parts of your form. Certain combinations can lead to some truly weird-looking creatures, but there are a couple specialized forms that you can get late in the game. One is a mermaid, which is unlocked in the final ocean area, and it absolutely crushes bosses, which is nice. The other form is a dragon. You only get it temporarily, but it looks cool as hell, and it's the most powerful form in the game. You find it up in the clouds all the way to the right. You just wander around enough, and you'll eventually find a hidden gem that'll turn you into a dragon. And that is all for now. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.